Yup, that's me. 35,000 blocks in the sky, about to attempt the world's tallest MLG in Minecraft history. On top of that, I did all of this in hardcore mode, meaning if I died once, it's all over. But to understand how I got to this point, we're gonna have to rewind. So I was just scrolling through Minecraft YouTube when I stumbled across a video where someone managed to jump 59,000 blocks into the air using an end crystal launcher. On the way down, he attempted to hit an MLG water bucket clutch, and unfortunately he failed the clutch. And this is what inspired me to make this video. Could I pull off a clutch of this magnitude? Yes, any casual can do that, but the real challenge is, can I do this in hardcore mode? So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. What's up guys, voiceover Velo here because I really didn't want to commentate over the 10 hours of in-game time it took to record this video, so I decided to do a voiceover. I started this Minecraft world like any other old Minecraft world. I made a crafting table, mined for stone, made a stone pickaxe, then I mined for some more stone, and murdered some animals. I headed out in search of a village, but on the way found some animals, so, you know, had to kill them because Minecraft. After I found a village, there was a ruined portal right next to it. I looted it up and promptly stored the villager's food stockpile. After this, I cleared out a foundation for my starter house, and by sunrise the next morning, it was complete. Not to brag or anything, but I think Green would be proud. Realizing how vulnerable I was, I took to the mines. I knew iron wasn't enough, so immediately after crafting it, I got to work getting diamond armor. But it's 2022, who mines for diamonds? So I began construction on a forced underground breeding zone to make my new friends sell me armor. Oh, but Velo, doesn't that sound a little bit like human? I need diamonds. After breeding up some villagers, I began trading for the gear I needed. After chopping down half a forest, I finally had enough for my diamond armor. With my shiny new armor, I was feeling ridiculously confident. With one swift blow, my health was decimated, my PvP reflexes kicked in, and I instantly combat logged to gather my wits. Upon reloading, I had one mission: run. Hands down the scariest moment of my life, but after pillowing up, I gave the golem a swift and painful death. I decided to tempt fate even more and head into the nether. My fortress was in view of spawn, and soon I was off killing blazes. I yoinked some nether wart and returned home, and after the encounter with the golem, I knew I needed better enchants, so I began cycling trades with villagers in hopes of getting protection 4, unbreaking 3, and mending. And after around 30 minutes of work, I got all of the villagers I needed, and promptly sent zombies to murder them. After killing the villagers and feeding them teeth-crushing apples, they would now sell me ultra-rare items for dirt cheap. So, more deforestation later, I bought all the necessary books and began combining my... With my newfound god armor, I started a raid, and after collecting a few totems, I was ready to take on the dragon. Unfortunately, during the raid, I wandered too far from the village and a zombie had spawned in with my villagers. So after cleaning up that mess, I was finally ready to move on to bigger things. I had traded for most of my ender pearls already, but since the villagers were dead, I needed to go out and hunt endermen for the remaining few. With all of the necessary materials, I crafted up my ender pearls and headed out in search of the stronghold. While traveling through an ocean, I found a drowned who was wielding a trident. I killed it as an afterthought, but was shocked to see that it actually dropped. After around 10 minutes of walking, I narrowed in on the stronghold's location.
One eternity later.
And after digging around a bit, I was able to find the portal room. I wasn't even nervous as I filled in the eyes. I'd beaten the dragon so many times it felt like more of a chore than an actual adventure. But it was this hubris that almost lost me the world. The dragon fight was pretty standard, and I was able to take out the towers without too much issue. As the dragon began to push, I was relaxed as ever without a care in the world. Suddenly, I was thrown into the air. My heart stopped, my muscles tensed. As I landed safely, I breathed a sigh of relief. I needed to be more careful. As I dwindled away at the dragon's health, I realized that this was the first time I had actually beaten the game in hardcore mode. And before I could finish my thought, the dragon was dead, and step 1 was complete. I had gathered all of my basic resources as well as killed the ender dragon. Now it was time to start building farms in order to get a shulker box full of end crystals. In order to make said shulker box, I would need 864 blaze rods combined with 1728 ender pearls to make 1728 eyes of ender. Then I would need 1728 gas tiers along with 12,096 glass. All of these materials combined would give me exactly one shulker box full of end crystals. The first item on my list was ender pearls, but in order to build an enderman farm, you had to be right above the void, so there was no way I was going to do this without an elytra. So after grabbing one of those, I began construction on the enderman farm. The farm itself was fairly straightforward to build, and it only took me around an hour. But for being so easy to build, it was super efficient, and I was able to get all of my ender pearls in just around 30 minutes. The next item I needed was gas tiers, and this would prove to be the hardest item of them all, as in order to create a ghast farm, I would need a ton of wither roses as well as obsidian. But after collecting the necessary items, I began construction on the ghast farm. The ghast farm proved much more difficult to build than the enderman farm, and took nearly 3 hours, but I had messed up the placement of the farm, and half of the farm was not in a soul sand valley, meaning other mobs besides ghast would be able to spawn. Hoping it wouldn't be a problem, I completed the farm and headed to sleep. And when I came back the next morning, I arrived to see all the ghast tiers gold and gunpowder I could ever need. The next item on my list was glass, and this was the easiest material to gather, but it took forever and was incredibly tedious. I just sat there for 2 hours mining out an entire desert. But after this, I headed to the nether and began smelting it up. The last item I needed was blaze rods, and I wish I could say like the footage corrupted or something, but quite honestly, I just forgot to record. But pretty much I just ran around a fortress for like 3 hours killing blazes until I had enough. Finally, I had all of the materials necessary, so I got to work crafting. My math was perfect. I had used up every single eye of ender and every single ghast tier I had to craft an entire shulker box full of end crystals. The final step was to downgrade the world to version 1.11 so that end crystals could boost me much higher into the air. After loading in on 1.11, I began building a tower which I would use to gain momentum before being launched into the air by the end crystals. Once the tower was complete, I grabbed the end crystals from my ender chest and began construction on a device that would automatically place the end crystals for me. Once the circuit was done, I just had to stand there for 30 minutes, mindlessly holding right click until all the end crystals were placed. Unfortunately, this is the part where I have to cheat a little bit. After hours of research, I came to the conclusion that there was no possible way to survive an end crystal explosion of that magnitude on any difficulty besides peaceful. So yes, technically I didn't do this entire challenge in hardcore mode. I had to change my game mode to be able to go into peaceful. But after all was said and done, I was there, on the edge of greatness, about to attempt the world's tallest MLG in survival Minecraft. And all I had to do was take the leap of faith. According to my calculation, that number of end crystals should have propelled me 100,000 blocks in the void. But unfortunately, it had only boosted me 36,000 blocks in the void. However, all was not lost. This was still, if I made the MLG, the tallest MLG in Minecraft history. I I have many theories on why I was only boosted 36,000 blocks in the air. Perhaps my timing of position was off, maybe I had too many end crystals, or maybe the world was just too laggy. But none of that mattered in the moment. The only thing that mattered was the clutch. Falling at Minecraft's terminal velocity of 78.4 blocks per second, I prepared myself. Countless hours of work all came down to this moment. I did it. Pure excitement and adrenaline raced through my body as I frantically shook my mouse near light speed. And although I did not reach the original 100,000 blocks I had dreamed of, I realized that in the end, it's not an arbitrary number that's important. It's the journey that really counts.